it's a straight up curve. And what they have found is that the human body is a holographic image of the entire creation of the universe. And that we live in a hologram. We literally live in a hologram. That any object, whether it's a beer can or a car or our human body, is a piece of this hologram that the universe is, and that just as in a hologram, if you take a photograph of a hologram and you rip off a little piece of it, it contains the image of the whole thing, even though you just ripped off a little piece of it. Well, your body, your physical body, is the same way. You are a hologram of everything. The location of Sirius and the entire star pattern out in space and everything that's out there can be determined from your body. And not only outer space and the depths of the macrocosm, but the same way on the microcosm going in. All of that is all contained within you, within your physical body. Your physical body contains this. And not only does it do that, but there's a reverse of it. Your physical body may be sitting in this room, but NASA says that it can be located anywhere in space or time. That you exist everywhere at once through time and space at the same moment. That's hard to imagine, but this is how the new science is perceiving the reality that we live in. And how can that be? Well, it becomes pretty clear if you study the sacred geometry located in this one little image how this can be. But to give you a direct example, because I really do believe in demonstrating things directly, this is a drawing by Leonardo da Vinci. And as you all know, the drawing part of it anyway. And by the way, Leonardo was totally involved in the Flower of Life. He was drawing the Flower of Life. He was drawing all the aspects of it. And this is how he was able to create the inventions such as the helicopter and all these kinds of things so long ago, because he understood the basic creation pattern. And anybody who understands this suddenly jumps from normal to genius immediately, because all things come into focus. There is no separation between any subject. You can take music or art or science or language or feelings or anything else, and they're all integrated through the same image pattern and the same dynamic proportions of sacred geometry. Here, Leonardo shows that if you put your hands straight out like this and your feet together, that there's a square that fits around your body. Science has shown that that square, if you measure this many people in the room, the difference between the height of your body and the width of your arms is only 1/10,000th of an inch. And that 1/10,000th of an inch is not an error. It is associated with the sequence, the mathematical sequence that forms it, which is the Fibonacci sequence. And that's another subject, but it is talked about in the book. And if you put your arms up like this, with your arms out like that, there's a sphere or a circle that will fit around your body with the exact center at your navel. The square will be centered at the base of your spine. And if you move that sphere that's centered at the navel, the center of the sphere down to the center of there, it forms a relationship that forms something called the golden mean ratio, which is the basis of all life everywhere. And by pure chance, you might say, some people would say it in this way, if you drew a circle inside this square, which is this blue area, and you drew a circle on another circle up here that is centered directly on the sphere that goes around the body, that the size of that sphere there, the gold one and the blue one, happen to be mathematically perfect to the size of the Earth and the Moon. It isn't off at all. There was a man named Kepler who thought that perhaps the planets all orbit in a certain way which is related to the 5 platonic solids which all come out of the Flower of Life. And he tried to show how the orbits were not at random, but that they were set there very precisely according to these geometries. But he was wrong only because he didn't have correct information. In those days, they didn't really know exactly where the planets are. Now we know really where they are, and we know their maximum orbit, their minimum orbit, and their mean orbit. And there was a man named John Martineau who wrote a book called A Book of Coincidences, just pure coincidence, that shows that all of the orbits of all the planets and their relationship to the sun and the relationships of the orbits to each other, such as the relationship of the Earth's orbit to Venus, etc., or Mars to Uranus, etc., were all based on sacred geometry. Very, very precise sacred geometry with an accuracy that's incredible, that's undeniable. An accuracy that falls primarily in the range of about 99.9% perfect. It's not an accident. It can't be. And all of its sacred geometry, and all of it is found in the flower of life, and all of those proportions of all the size of the planets and where they're located and moving around in the solar system can all be identified in and around your body, in the orbital fields that are around your body. NASA is already beginning to understand this now. And just a little side thing, if you notice the line that runs through the center of the Earth or the center of the body, and the line that runs up to the center of the moon and comes down, and a line that goes from the center of the moon to the center of the Earth, that shape, by a pure coincidence, just happens to be the exact shape of the Great Pyramid.